just a little reference to this particular finding that we're about to discuss in this half hour, because a new report by the Governing Body Foundation has found that many South African school principals are under immense pressure, with nearly 6 in 10 saying they've considered leaving the profession altogether. We unpack what is actually behind these particular findings, what it means for schools, and what needs to change, most importantly. Marna Jordan is joining me in her capacity as the Chief Executive Officer of the Governing Body Foundation to help us get an understanding of what the issues are. Marna, a pleasure to have you on the program. Welcome to Channel Africa.
Thank you very much. It's an honor for me to join you this morning in this discussion.
Thank you very much. I think a good place to start is perhaps establishing what prompted the Governing Body Foundation to conduct this report.
Yes, maybe just for a little background is that schools and school principals are under a lot of strain and pressure at the present moment. And I'm sorry, I just so what is happening is that we became worried about how principals are feeling nowadays, and then we run the survey so that we could find out what is it that irritates them most. And then it came out, as you have said rightfully so, in this report. We found that up to 60% of the more than 300 participants from over the country, from various schools, secondary schools, primary schools, little farm schools, city schools, it came out that the principals are feeling the pressure of the administrative load immensely at the present moment. Because you see, the thing is that when you have to use the bulk of your time to address administration, you lose out on your obligation as a principal to oversee, the education, the mentoring of your teachers, the being there for the children. So the other functions that is more important for a principal, it suffers because of the expectations from the department of delivering financial reports, administration, curriculum, marks, data. Yeah, it became too much for everybody to bear.
It became too much. And you mentioned that there were over 300 participants. I mean, that's a good enough pool to draw relevant information for this particular study for. But let's talk about what the actual concerns are. I think you've given us a small indication as to how overwhelming things are for principals administratively and how it affects what else needs to happen in the profession. But what are the biggest concerns that were actually raised and vocalized by the principals?
Excuse me, pardon me. The biggest concern is a time factor. It takes too much time. The second thing that came out was the unfriendly timeframes that principals are experiencing. Let me give you a practical example. It can easily happen that you come into your office this morning and you've got your plans for the day, and then within 3 to 4 minutes via a phone call, a WhatsApp, or an email, you get instruction that the department needs the following data from you. Now, it's not as if the principals necessarily need to sit down by themselves and complete those forms, because your bigger schools, your more functional schools, have got people that can assist them, even your deputy principals or your educators, to complete these forms. But what people do not realize is that you can give the instruction, but you can never depart from your accountability nor your responsibility as a principal to make sure that you give the department the correct information. Now, having data in any organization is extremely important if you use that data wisely and you use it to exploit ways in improving your systems. Now, I think part of the problem that we have in the education sector is that there's unnecessary duplication, because you will fill in a form today, just tomorrow to find another section within the department asking you almost the same things, but just a little bit difference. Now, what people don't realize is the minute you get this instruction, everything that you were busy with, you need to lay it down and pay attention to what the department wants from you. And this is where it comes in. There is way too much duplication taking place. Then I think the department could really look into simplifying the way in which they collect this data, and definitely they have to look at their unfriendly timeframes and find ways to work together with the schools, because sometimes it seems as if the left hand is not very sure of what the right hand is doing. And I don't think the various sectors within the Department of Education always realize, because sometimes national education will ask you something, then the district will ask you almost the same thing, or it might be something completely different. So we need to clear up the system. We need to find a way in this modern age of technology. I'm convinced that there will be ways in which things can be put together so that you do not unnecessarily repeat what you have sent in to the department.
That makes a lot of sense. Using the skills
Yeah.
and tools, I want to say, the tools that are available to the fraternity to the advantage of school principals, because they are expected to wear so many hats, instructional leaders, managers, administrators, community
Yes.
leaders, psychologists, all sorts of things expected from one individual. And I think it's clear from that response that the role has become completely unsustainable in its current form. Where are you in the deliberation around the recommendations as you're making them to government? Are they listening to
Yeah.
you? Is there any movement in that area?
Look, it seems there's a slight movement in regards to the fact that it has come to our attention that there are areas where the governmental officials, whether it being district or even the head office of a province, has begun to now reiterate the fact that they must be more careful when they decide to gain information from schools with regards to what it is that they want and for which purpose. I cannot unfortunately say we've made huge strides, but what I can say is that the department most definitely has taken note of this, and that we as the governing body foundation will, throughout the time that comes, at the various forums where we do have a seat and where we do have an opportunity to put through our ideas and our recommendations, that we will utilize it. And I'm very pleased to say that we did have the opportunity to speak to the advisory board of the minister that she specifically put together with the purpose of advising her on many issues within education. And we have submitted our report also to that grouping. And I am aware that they are also looking at, in particular, then our recommendations in order to, give the minister guidance and to give the national and the provincial departments guidance on how they can, put better systems and processes in place. You see, the thing with the Department of Education is the following. We actually have got excellent policies, and a lot of research is being done, and they put together beautiful stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The problem comes that they somehow lack the ability to sort of see what is the effect that it is having on the people at grassroots level. And this is where, so because you will find that the school will feel they are under huge pressure, and they will feel they cannot do this anymore. And then the district will say, but it's not us, it's head office in the province. The provincial head office will tell you, no, but the instruction came from the top, from the national department. So we must find ways. And I think if we all sit and take hands together, all stakeholders, I'm sure we can find ways to streamline our reporting systems, to make sure we get valid data, and most important, to make clear indications to people, give clear indications to people what we're going to do with the information that we've gathered. Because if you just gather information for the sake of information, I'm sorry to say, then it's actually a fruitless function.
That's the greatest point that you've made, honestly. If we're just talking and gathering the data and not doing anything with the empirical data in front of us, then what is the point? When packing a new report by the Governing Body Foundation, they found that many South African school principals are under severe pressure, and nearly 6 out of 10 that were actually sampled as part of this report and study are saying that they're considering leaving this profession altogether. And we cannot have that. We cannot have people that are just so passionate about the work leaving because of administrative issues. We continue the conversations on the other side of this break.
Channel Africa and you have got something in common. The thirst for knowledge. Africa World Hour with Mphosi Tole.
David Njumbe, who's a long-serving personal assistant to Tundu Lisu for over 15 years, on the night of 20 May, he survived a shocking abduction attempt just meters from his home. Talk us through what exactly happened on that night.
It is something that happened in my head. I expected to meet such situation for several months since the first attempt to abduct me was 6 months ago. There was a car coming very speedy behind me. I let them go. Instead of going, more than 6 people came out of that car and attacked me and they said police. I started fighting back and they handcuffed me. Immediately they started beating me, and one of them was telling me, "You have been running here and there. Now it's your time, it's your day, it's your last day."
Africa World Hour with Mphosi Tole. Catch it on the Channel Africa app, SABC Plus, and on channelafrica.co.za. Weekdays from 9 till 10 p.m. Central African Time. The Journal with Mateko Musito. Catch it on the Channel Africa app, SABC Plus, and on channelafrica.co.za. Weekdays from 9 till 12 p.m. Central African Time.
Nearly 6 in 10 principals have considered leaving the profession. Why are they thinking about quitting? That is the big question as we look at this new report, of course, by the Governing Body Foundation that has found that many South African school principals are experiencing a lot of pressure, a lot of burnout, and 60% of them are already saying that, well, we're ready to walk out the door because this is just simply not sustainable. Marna Jordan, a Chief Executive Officer of the Governing Body Foundation, has been in conversation with us regarding these particular findings and what the solutions are at this time. We've established what the issues are, but what are the solutions? Marna, let's perhaps address what the impact could be if we lose this amount of experienced principals. What impact will this have on learners and teachers going forward?
Oh, that will be a catastrophe, to be quite honest, because mostly it will be your more experienced principals that might have said, look, I will stay in my position up until the age of 65, but now I'm 60. And I'm just saying to myself, this is not worth it. It's not worth my health. The stress levels that they are experiencing is way too much. And the joy of the job that you have on hand as a principal, it disappears. Because instead of you sort of building into your educators, investing into your learners, and building a better school, and contributing to the community, contributing to the country in delivering the youth that can, take up the baton from the older people later on. Instead of that, people just say, I cannot take this anymore. And I mean, if you look at the rate of school principals and also their health situation, you will realize. So yes, indeed, they are really really under huge strain and stress with what is expected from them. And if you lose that experience, you will never again get that back. And you mentioned it a little bit earlier in our discussion that there's actually just too much being expected from a principal. They are the mother or the father, they are the psychologist, they are the pastor, they are everything. And you need to know everything about everything. And actually, our main function should be a solid education, a good, well run schools, and everything that goes with that. So it will really have a negative impact because that also means that when they go out, people that are in a position to, through experience, mentor the younger people that come to the fore, that would be greatly disadvantaged. And then the other thing that I should mention is that we find that it seems that people are reluctant to apply for principal positions nowadays. And that to me is also a huge worry because it's as if people say, I'm not going to carry the brunt of the responsibility of everything. And with the financial situation in the country as it is at the moment, I mean, there are provinces that are not filling positions, posts at schools even at the moment because they simply say they don't have the money. Now, remember, although the governing body carries the weight and the responsibility of having teachers in the school, etc., it is the principal that's forever in between the department and the governing bodies. And it's not that easy anymore because people, as I say, they just say to themselves, why shall I become a principal? I'm going to kill myself, literally, if this is the situation I'm going to find myself in. So we need to make plans to sort of stop this from happening. And this is why we are saying, find other ways. Let us develop technical systems or things that we only capture our data once and that we don't have to repeat and repeat and repeat everything what we do.
Okay, okay. So if I'm understanding you correctly, the governing body foundation is there to assist, and help principals along this journey of school
Yes,
governing bodies to navigate these challenges.
correct.
Right. Okay. So
That is indeed so.
absolutely.
Yeah, parents must be aware. There is a governing body election coming up in 2027 next year, March.
Right.
And I think parents must be made aware how important it is that they really commit themselves if they want to serve on that governing bodies of schools in order to strengthen the hands of the educators and the department. We are stakeholders that need each other because education will falter if schools, parents, and the educational department are not in cohesion with what they are doing and what they are envisaging they want to reach with the children and with education in our country.
Absolutely, very, very important. And then just lastly, what is next for the foundation? I think especially following the release of this report, just briefly, what is next so we can establish an understanding.
Yeah, what we would like to do now is, now that we know what the feeling is amongst our principals, is to it is our biggest aim is to capacitate governing bodies in schools, and we shall now develop a training mechanism in which we can maybe train our own governing body members to also understand how they can assist to alleviate the pressure on the school principal, but at the same time how we can, as governing bodies, maybe pressurize the department into coming up with plans to eliminate the crisis that we are facing now. And as we say, our slogan with regards to this survey is capture once, use many times. Don't ask us the same stuff in 6 various ways.
There we go. Okay, the repetitive nature of the administration is really, really just it is done with. It is no longer meant to move forward with the system going forward. Marna, thank you very much. I thank you very much for the work that you are doing. Very important in us being able to create a sustainable, a thriving, good quality public education system. Very, very important for the dynamics of our country. Marna Jordan, Chief Executive Officer of the Governing Body Foundation. It is 11:30. We're checking with the latest in sports. Fix, what's new?